everyone, it's Matt Parsons, and I'd like to welcome you to our Lion Plays with Ball video. I'm going to be getting into some really esoteric shit today, to be honest. A lot of people just don't even know that this is like a part of what Kung Fu is. My Qigong, Chris Matsuo, in a conversation with Bruce Chu on Dojo and Tea, mentioned that there was a Persian ethnic tribe that basically brought martial arts all around the world, as well as internal alchemy. So in the West, we have the Mithraic cult, and then in the East, they went east in a number of different forms. You have Mandeans, Manichaeans, the Jingzhou Church, which were technically Nestorian, but they were basically like a Buddhist Christian hybrid, which was really interesting to read their apologetics. They basically present Jesus as another Buddha, and like he's giving a Dharma lecture, and all this other stuff. I really enjoyed, I believe it was, and the Dharma became flesh is the title of that one that I read. I've read a few about the Jingzhou Church, and the Dharma became flesh was one of my favorites. So, what are we working on here today? We're working on the Leontocephaline figure. All of these Neigong exercises, the 5 Neigong exercises, are representative of imagery that comes about from this, okay? So if you look at the Leontocephaline figure, he's a man, he's all wrapped up by a giant snake, he's got a lion's head, 4 sets of wings, he's holding these keys of immortality, I believe it's called, and the head is a lion, like I said, he's got 4 wings, he's wrapped by a snake. So he's basically got all of these different qualities that the 5 Neigong exercises are trying to bring into our bodies. Also, if you look at hexagram 43, which is breakthrough, resolution, I believe that is a reference to the 8th gate of the Mysterium. So it said in the Mithraic cult that there were 8 gates, and then once you broke through the 8th gate, you could get to the Leontocephaline figure who helped create the world. In Greek, they would, or I don't know if it's Greek, but Gnostic traditions, I've heard this figure called Yaldabaoth or Ariel, depending on which side of the creature you get. If you're looking for the merciful creatress, that's Ariel. But if you're looking at the insane destroyer, that's Yaldabaoth. So what is it that you're trying to bring into your life? You may not want to use Yaldabaoth, Iao, that may not be what you want. You may want to do Ariel instead, because there's this duality there. So once you break through 43, the 8th gate, you can then embody the Leontocephaline figure yourself. You are a creator in this world. And the Leontocephaline figure is really cool. There's similarly imaged stuff in Eastern, South Asian mythology, like the Shabara, that sort of thing. But that's like a lion and an eagle combined with like horse hooves, I think. I'm not 100% on that. But there's these different representations of very similar imagery throughout various cultures. Now, the other hexagram that we're going to look at is 14. That's Great Possession, and that is where he's holding the keys of immortality. And it's the idea is that you're kind of working with these hexagrams with the trigrams of the mother palms, and you're going from 43 to 14, and you can kind of change how you do Lion Plays with Ball after that. All right, so in the beginning stages, I'm going to show you an exercise from Tai Chi that I learned from Betty Dong. She's a disciple of Chen Xiaowang, and she's also trained with a number of other Chen family members. I believe Chen Xiaoxing is the other person that she largely credits for the influence on her art. So, with that said, the Tai Chi exercise, we're going to differentiate between our hips and our lower dantian. And there's a pretty easy way to do that. All that we're doing right now is putting our hands on our shoulders, okay? And then we're trying to source everything from our waist. And you might notice that there is a lot of movement here, especially if I get my quad and my hips involved, right? All right, a lot of movement, very big range. If you'd like to isolate your dantian, you want to make your stance a little smaller. And you want to cross one hand over your belly button so that your forearm rests on it, and your hand will basically rest on the blade of your hip. You're going to cross the other hand over to the other blade of your hip, and now you can see that these are basically right on top of the belly button. Now from here, you're going to use the imagery of a little ball between your front of your belly and the back of, or in the front of your spine, and you're going to move side to side. As you can see, the range of motion is much, much smaller, but my bracelet almost fell off just trying to get that torque out to a distal part of my body. I have seen this thing fly off and go in spirals around the air a few times when I've done Fa Jin on the left side. It's normally where I wear it, so it's pretty funny when I say it like that, but you know, it has happened. You know, when I've demonstrated Fa Jin for people, they're like, your bracelet flew off in a spiral. Yeah, that's what it does. So what Fa Jin is I'm just kind of ending a spiral and whipping it out. And there's also like density stuff. There's different ways to Fa your Jin, because there's different Jins. Of course, the Fa methods are going to express different things. So now that we have an idea as to how to isolate the box of the shoulders and hips, as well as isolate the lower dantian, we're basically getting these two gates things going on. Some Chinese arts will talk about, you know, having like a central axis and then two gates that move around that axis. And that's basically what we're talking about here. Now, lion plays with ball. We're trying to take that lower dantian mechanic and get it out to our hands so that we can do uppercuts, gut strikes, that sort of thing. Lion plays with ball is basically take their head off, rip out the throat. So there's a little bit wider than shoulder width is the stance you want to be into. And if you come like on in Tai Chi and then drop one to your hip and bring this one up to just above your eye level, you'll get about where you're supposed to be. Now you may notice that this is similar to the metal stance that Max Christensen shows in his Kunlun Gong book, and that's pretty much because they're the same pattern. Chinese Kung Fu has the same DNA almost everywhere, but you know, slightly different focuses and developments. So from here, you kind of want to feel like you're holding a big beach ball. Now, of course, a big beach ball, you may have to hold it out here in order for it not to touch your body. And if you look at how a lion's claws are, it's going to try and get under a ball, and then when it comes up to here, the ball's going to have to fall, right? Like it can't hold on to it with one claw as it comes up. So it's going to scoop under, and then as it comes up, the ball falls. So like if you were working with a smaller, heavy ball, like a bocce ball or something, you could work with a ball, come out this way, drop it into this hand, and then come back up, because this is the hand you want to focus on. Now, you may notice I'm coming up and toward the center line, and then up and away from the center. Up and toward the center, up and away from the center. So this gets your body waving stuff going, as well as your dantian rotation, okay? Now the other thing is you want to keep your shoulders sunken as much as possible, because if your shoulders aren't sunken, you're not doing the metal element. And it's perfectly okay to change this exercise a little bit so that you can practice for the level where you are. So If you are brand new, it might be a lot easier for you to focus on this hip and shoulder mechanic, and you can do 2 vertical circles immediately in front of your hips and shoulders. Okay, that's perfectly fine. If you cannot isolate your Dantian yet, this is all right. Okay, now we're going to try going back to the center, and not only are we holding a ball, we're kind of pressing into it, and that's after you get into the Leontocephaline, the 14 hexagram energy. Like once you can get into that, that's when this really takes off, okay? So the idea is that you're pressing with basically the top hand into the ball a little bit. So now the quality of the movement has changed a little bit to more like lion opens mouth, or whatever the posture may be called in other lines. I believe we call this lion holds ball. I'd have to look it up again. Not 100% sure. There's like lion plays with ball, lion holds ball, lion rolls ball. Just a lot of stuff out there with lion imagery. So with lion plays the ball, the 43 hexagram is talking about allowing your collarbone to sink while this is happening, okay? Because it's really easy to go into 14, but if you don't have the energetic development and so forth, the 14 mechanics aren't actually going to work for you, because you need to be able to press and lift at the same time, not just cover and lift. So it's a little different. So with the pressing and lifting, it's like this, because you can kind of take it on another axis, something like that. But I think that's enough for today, honestly. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Matt Parsons. My website is syncreticqigongreiki.art, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whichever one you're watching me on right now. Let me know if you want to train. My phone number's on my website. Don't email me. All right, have a great day. Thank you.